Are you going to your trial on Monday?
Excuse me?
Are you going to go to your trial on Monday?
I may, yeah.
Do you plan to testify?
It's a disgrace.
You plan to testify?
It's a rigged. Everything about this city is rigged.
You said that you'd like to.
It's all rigged. This whole country is rigged out.
Of course, offering the familiar response that he has to many of these things, saying it's all rigged. Well, we'll see what the New York judge thinks. The judge already canceled the Trump Organization's business certification, and much more of Trump's business dealings could be at risk. So, joining us now is former Manhattan prosecutor Jeremy Saland. Good to see you. Thanks for waking up with us. For those keeping track, like you and me, this is separate from the 4 criminal indictments Trump faces out of Florida, Georgia, D.C., and New York. This one is in New York, but on the civil side. And what's interesting, to me at least, is the New York Supreme Court judge has already ruled Trump and his co-defendants are liable for fraud. How does that impact the coming trial, if at all?
Well, we know the judge has also sanctioned his attorneys for making some arguments that the judge has basically said are bogus, for lack of a better term. So we also know that this judge, remember, it's a bench trial, not a jury trial, has a view of what the evidence is and has made this conclusion. So it's an uphill battle out of the gate. And some of the issues, such as the pervasive fraud that's alleged, though there are some outstanding issues left, has already been determined by the court with that summary judgment motion. So this is an uphill battle out of the gate.
Yeah, at the very least, it's not a good omen ahead of the official start of a trial. And now, look, I think a lot of people are familiar with proof beyond a reasonable doubt in criminal cases. But what is the standard in civil cases? Is it an easier one to prove?
It's a much lower bar. We call it a preponderance of the evidence, and it's 50% plus a hair, if you will. It doesn't have to be 51%, and even though it's not numerically identified, it's more than half, we'll call it. Whereas proof beyond a reasonable doubt, as opposed to preponderance of the evidence, has much more of a stricter, a real firm, based in fact and based in evidence determination that this person is guilty. So it's a much lower threshold, a much easier threshold. And when we think of some of the most famous cases, if you recall from years and years ago, O.J. Simpson was acquitted at trial for criminally killing somebody and killing his ex-wife. But at the same time, he was found civilly liable. So it's a lesser standard, 2 totally different proceedings, 2 totally different courts.
And what is the obligation here for the people at the center of this? For example, will Trump and his kids have to appear in court for these proceedings?
So again, very different than a criminal trial. If they are being prosecuted, you need to be there to proceed. In New York State, what sometimes happens is something called Parker warnings. And they tell the accused, if you do not show up, the case can continue in your absence. But they have to be notified of that. In a civil case, it is different. He has a right not to show. Will he want to avoid the biggest stage? I don't think so. He's already said that he's going to be there, although you have to sometimes take what he says with a grain of salt. But again, criminal and civil, 2 different things.
Yeah, and look, we know he's used some of these legal proceedings as part of his ongoing campaign and fundraised millions of dollars, as we understand, after even he put out his mugshot from Georgia. I want to just mention a little bit of what his defense team has argued in part, saying they've argued in part that the financial statements were not fraudulent because they contained disclaimers or a, quote, worthless clause, warning lenders and others that they shouldn't be relied on. The judge, as you mentioned before, has called their arguments bogus. So I guess my question is, despite what I can't imagine is good posturing leading up to this trial, what is at stake with this trial? What could be lost, and what sort of damages potentially are we looking at here?
So first, you are correct. This clause, this worthless clause, the judge has called worthless, and there's no defense saying no harm, no foul. I defrauded, but everyone made money, so it's okay. I can subjectively view and measure my apartment, and therefore that's my defense. But what's at stake is a lot here. We already know that his business abilities have been canceled, for lack of a better term, his business certificates. We also know that there's potentially $250 million, which is very real dollars, even to someone who proclaims to be worth billions of dollars in potential fines. We also know that this applies not just to Donald Trump, but to Don Jr. and his other son, Eric. Additionally, what can happen is the court can say for the next 5 years, you cannot do business, or pardon me, use banks in the state of New York. And going forward, you could be precluded from operating a business and owning a business in New York. And this is the heart of Trump's, Trumpdom, if you will, is New York City, though it expands outwards. So this could be crushing, devastating, obliterating to Trump family, his future, and his holdings.
Yeah, I mean, look, this could have a real impact. We will see what happens. It's a lot to keep track of, but when we got people like you on board, I am not worried. Jeremy Saland, thank you so much.
Still ahead, Ukraine.